Dennett, Intuition Pumps and Other Tools for Thinking. Embark on a journey to master the art of thinking with Dennett's Intuition Pumps and Other Tools for Thinking. In this book, Dennett exposes various thinking tools that can help you unravel complex ideas and sharpen your cognitive abilities. From thought experiments, popularly known as intuition pumps, to debunking myths about consciousness and free will, the author offers a diverse array of tactics to elevate your thinking prowess. Among the notable tools discussed are mistakes, reductio ad absurdum, Rappaport's rules, and Occam's razor, with each serving as a potential mind expander. Delve into this book summary and attain an arsenal of intellectual weapons to tackle the most challenging questions life throws at you.
Thinking Tools. The book explains how difficult thinking can be for people and how they tend to avoid it. However, the author introduces thinking tools which aid in thinking about complex ideas. The tools vary in nature and help individuals think better and even allow groups to think collectively. An example of such a tool is the Cartesian coordinate system. Other non-mathematical tools include thought experiments, which encourage people to think differently. The tools aim to help individuals and groups to think more effectively and for extended periods. Intuition pumps and thinking techniques. Intuition pumps are metaphors for different thinking techniques that can be applied to problem solving, decision-making, and argumentation. Some of these techniques include making mistakes, reductio ad absurdum, Sturgeon's law, Occam's razor, and others. These techniques encourage critical thinking, creativity, and reasoning based on evidence. In addition, the author warns of common pitfalls that hinder effective communication, such as the use of jargon, avoidance of contradictions, and reliance on rhetorical questions. By mastering these tools and avoiding these traps, individuals can sharpen their thinking skills and increase their chances of making better decisions. Unlocking the complexities of meaning. The book delves into the challenges of understanding meaning, emphasizing the importance of clear definitions and examining the relationship between language, reality, and perception. It explores the concepts of manifest image and scientific image, as well as the role of philosophy in helping people understand the connections between different aspects of life. Meaning is a fundamental human challenge that distinguishes us from animals. However, thinking about meaning remains one of the toughest challenges in thinking. To discuss meaning, one must be clear about the starting point and the tools used, including word and concept definitions. The relationship between words and reality must also be explored, and the intuition pump is an effective way to demonstrate that different people access events differently yet come to the same conclusion. In the science fiction scenario where a belief is implanted into someone's mind, it becomes clear that all beliefs rest on a structure of knowledge. Hence, getting as clear as possible about one's starting point and equipment is essential to any effective exploration. Philosophy distinguishes between manifest and scientific images, with the former being how you perceive the world, ranging from grammar to culture. The scientific image consists of things you know but cannot directly perceive, like electrons and atoms. The manifest image is not genetically determined but is inculcated when young. The book explores the relationship between the two categories, with some people believing that the manifest image is an illusion. Nonetheless, many important aspects of life, such as truth, poetry, and color, exist in the scientific image. Philosophy can help individuals understand how the manifest and scientific images, and everything else, fit together. The book also delves into the concept of deepity, which is a proposition that seems important, true, and profound but achieves the effect by being ambiguous. Lastly, the book emphasizes that every living thing has a set of things in the world that matter to it, from amoebas to humans. This set is the ontology or environment or umwelt. The umwelt has an inner component based on what matters to an individual, but it refers to things in the world, making it not strictly subjective. Understanding the complexity of the human mind. The human mind is a collective entity that processes information as a whole. Folk psychology plays a vital role in interpreting the actions of others, and part of this understanding involves recognizing the distinction between a person and their parts. No part of the human body acts alone, and it's the combination of all parts that allows for the interpretation of life. Despite different aspects and subroutines of the mind cooperating or clashing at times, they ultimately contribute to making sense of the world around us. The transforming power of evolutionary theory. Darwin's theory of evolution is a unifying concept that connects matter and meaning in contemporary science. By moving through everything, it transforms everything it touches, challenging people's most treasured beliefs. Skeptics resort to absolutism, but it is the lack of consideration of related observations. The sequencing of the human genome requires a change in perspective to understand its complexity, which can be approached like a library with all the possible combinations of letters and words. DNA is composed of nucleotides forming patterns, each one distinguishing individuals from one another, like words composing stories. The genome is part of the tree of life, tracing back to the origin of life, as all living things have a line of descent that connects them. The debate between intelligent design versus evolution by natural selection centers on the question of design: does it require a designer? The universe engages in endless experimentation, leading to ongoing R&D throughout history. The power of this line of thinking is that biological functions work and produce reliable results without conscious intent. Understanding consciousness. The concept of consciousness is often deemed incomprehensible by some. However, it can be understood better by rejecting the notion that humans have a single and unified consciousness. We can also deny certain claims about consciousness and deflate people's overstatements regarding it. Consciousness is not a medium to store information but is an intrinsically connected part of our processing in self. There is no little man in our head running things, and consciousness is not specific to humans or other organisms. By letting go of these misconceptions, we can gain a better understanding of consciousness. The Consciousness Conundrum. According to Alan Turing, a machine can eventually pass for human without understanding consciousness. This is because consciousness, despite being unexplainable, is the center of narrative gravity that determines our actions and organizes our experiences. While the self that is conscious is not physically located anywhere, it undeniably exists at the core of our stories. Free will myths. Free will as a concept often gets linked with false doctrines of folk ideology. Many scholars have labeled the idea of free will as a mere illusion, including some of the brightest minds in history. However, the reality is quite unlike the myth. Free will does exist, but not in the metaphysical sense that it is often associated with. It works in alignment with the brain and the scientific understanding of how the world functions, without requiring any special claims. Hence, it's time to understand the realities of free will and discard the misconceptions.
As you reach the end of Intuition Pumps and Other Tools for Thinking, you have now explored a fascinating collection of thinking tools and mental exercises, provided to help you navigate through complex ideas and enhance your understanding of the world. This journey covers topics related to decision-making, arguing ethically, understanding consciousness, and even evolution. Dennett's book equips you with tactics, pumps, and ways of thinking that will guide you in finding your own solutions and navigate sophisticated subjects. Remember that thinking is an art, and mastering it requires continuous practice and the strategic use of tools. Dennett's work offers an invaluable foundation to build upon as you continuously hone your critical thinking abilities.